Hey everyone, Asta Hill here with a video that I was not expecting to make, certainly not anytime soon. But I'll link the announcement down below. I'm sure you've all seen it by now, and you all have heard the news that Dual Force is shutting down from the end of February. And to say I'm, shocked and upset and disappointed is an understatement. I really thought we had something special here with this game, and to see it kind of die in its cradle like this after only a few months. What had it been? A couple of months it had been on Steam and been in open beta for a few months before that. I think I started playing in July and streaming in August. Yes, to see the plug pulled so quickly, I'm sure it has happened with other games before, but I personally have never known a game where the plug has been pulled so quickly. So yeah, that is extremely disappointing. I had actually made a video where I talked about what I wanted to see from Dual Force in 2024. I was actually editing that video when this news broke. And one of the things that I talked about in that video was how they had kind of fumbled the Steam and the Epic Game Store release. But I thought, it was something that they could come back from with a bit of marketing and a bit of a push. They could have boosted some new players that way, but I guess it's not to be. I could only imagine that there was no mobile release in sight, definitely not before March when the game kind of ends. And they maybe would have wanted to market around that, but if it was, 6, 9, 12 months off, maybe they didn't have the funds or the funds have been pulled for that. I guess we'll never know. But it is what it is. So tough one for me again because I did start my journey with Dual Force, and I think I was at a time in my life when I was feeling quite unsatisfied with some parts of my life, particularly with my 9 to 5 job. I work in a very heavily regulated environment, and so everything I do has to be approved or signed off, or I'd have to adhere to so many guides and regulations and all this kind of stuff. I was feeling like I never got to make any decisions and I never got to think for myself. And this for me was great because I decided everything. Not only did I decide everything, I'd set up the streams and I'd make the videos and I got to do everything. And I was having a great time and I was feeling energized. Whereas before I was feeling a bit deflated that I wasn't really being challenged in the way that I want to be challenged. This challenged me in that way and it energized me a lot. I had a lot more energy for this stuff, and yeah, it was all me as well. So I was thinking, if it fails, then I've only got myself to blame. But it wasn't failing; it was going extremely well. You have seen in my vlog. Yeah, there were some parts that I wanted to work on and build, but overall, it was going much better than I thought it would. So yeah, a tough one to have to stop. And so then I guess that moves on to the future of this channel and my future, which I see there is a future. There's going to be challenges though, and this is definitely a bit of a gut punch, and having to recalibrate will be a challenge, and I'll discuss those challenges in a minute. Before I make the next kind of announcement, I do reserve the right to change my mind once it's sat with me a couple of days. But as of right now, I don't plan on making any more Dual Force content going forward, simply because it just feels redundant doing it now. And what I mean by that is the time that I would spend streaming Dual Force and making videos, I could be spending that time working on the next thing and sort of building myself up and recalibrating the channel for what's to come, rather than spending time on the game that's going to be dead soon. So in terms of what is to come for me, there's a couple of options. I think I'm going to be different to other content creators in that I want it to be around DC Comics. That's what I'm passionate about, and that's what I want to cover. Whereas I feel like the other content creators came from the CCG space and they happened to be creating content for a DC game. I come from the DC space and I happened to be creating content for a CCG. So yeah, for me, there's a couple of options. We have Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League coming out. I think if you get the deluxe version, which I will, it's playable from the 30th of January. That's a game that I have played an alpha build for. I'm very excited for the game when it comes out, and I'm looking forward to creating content, but there will be challenges around that. The first challenge is logistically. I want to get the game on my Xbox. It is coming out on PC, but Rocksteady do have previous when it comes to terrible PC ports and terrible PC launchers. I just don't want to have to deal with that, to be honest. I've got a Series X. I know it'll run fine on my Series X. So we'll just do it on that. But I have never streamed from my Xbox before. I don't know. It might be quite simple or it might be quite complicated. I don't know. So I'd have to figure out streaming from my Xbox. And then also pivoting to a very different style of game, going from a CCG, turn-based, slower, at a pace that did suit me, to be fair, to going to a looter shooter would be a very different change of pace, which, again, I've played this game already. I feel pretty comfortable and I'll be able to do it. But then also the different kinds of content this is very story-based. And, would I be playing it on stream and then uploading longer Let's Plays videos to YouTube? There's a few things rumoured about what this game is going to have in terms of modes, and the devs have already said they have 12 months of post-launch content planned, so there'll be a lot to cover for the next year or so with that, but it'll be a big pivot for the channel, and it'll be a big pivot for me, so that will be a challenge. But, starting this channel was a challenge for me, and starting Twitch was a challenge, and I think it's gone quite well, so I feel up to it, and I feel like I can do it. The other option for me as well, something that I might do alongside that, is DC Universe Online, which is 13 years old soon. It's coming up to its 13th anniversary, which is crazy to think about. Dual Force didn't last 6 months, and DCUO is coming up to 13 years. And I actually looked, and the player base on DCUO is considerably larger than DC Dual Force, at least on PC. DCUO, I have played it for many years on and off. Again, on the Xbox server population is quite low, so I was planning on kind of starting again on PC. Now I've got my PC set up where the player population is much bigger. But again, the challenge that is with the content. A lot of that, it's MMORPG. A lot of that is focused around farming the same content over and over, which is fine on Twitch. People do that on Twitch with games like Destiny and so on. And it seems fine, but again, can I make YouTube content out of that? I don't really know. And then I had also wanted to, I said in my vlog, create content about DC more broadly. And I guess my plans for 2024 were that the channel would still be, the vast majority would be Dual Force, and I would slowly ramp up the other DC content. I guess I'm now going to have to think about that and covering more broader DC content. Particularly now, again, it's been a rough time in the DC space just generally, but I think as 2024 rolls on and as we get more comics and more TV shows and what James Gunn is working on really starts to kind of ramp up, I think Superman starts filming in March, so hopefully there'll be stuff to cover with that. So yeah, I've got a few options. I'm not going to pretend like this isn't a challenge for me. It's probably going to set me back a little bit in terms of recalibrating and having to change my whole plan from based on just doing the majority of Dual Force and then slowly introducing some stuff. So yeah, after this is kind of sunk in for a couple of days, I might decide to create a bit more Dual Force content, or at least do a bit of a goodbye stream or something like that. But yeah, I think just let it sit with me for a couple of days and I'll see how I feel. And then going forward, I think just taking a bit of a break and focusing on what's next and making plans for that is probably the best thing to do, rather than spending time on Dual Force now when it's just kind of, just waiting for the end, which is sad to say again. So yeah, I do think for Dual Force, for me, this is probably a goodbye. But for me, generally, this is just, goodbye for now, or see you soon, see you at the end of January when Suicide Squad releases. So I'll just end the video just by saying thank you to everyone. Again, I never thought my Twitch and YouTube and content creation journey would happen this way. I said in my vlog, I had expected it to take around a year for me to hit affiliate on Twitch, and it took 2 months. And the content has been the community has been so great, so supportive. Even on Twitch, I've never had to ban anyone or kick anyone or block anyone on here. Everyone's been so great. So yeah, I'll end it with the thank yous. Again, thank you first of all to the devs who made this amazing game. Again, this is probably something that I'll always think about in terms of wasted potential, not just for the game, but for myself as well. What might have been if the game had been able to carry on for at least a couple more years. Because I had thoughts about the longevity of this game, but I was thinking in terms of, it'd probably go for a couple of years, then we'll see what happens from there. Not that, it'd be, there and gone in a few months. So, but the devs did a great game that me and I know a lot of other people put a lot of time into. So I'd like to thank the devs for making this game and for putting the love and putting the craft into it. I definitely appreciate it. Thank you as well to Willow and Mage Armor for being a part of the community, an amazing part of the community, and keeping us all up to date, keeping us all up to speed, especially when the news isn't always great as we've seen now. But I thought they've done a great job in a difficult situation. I'd like to say thank you to them. A thank you to my fellow DC Dual Force content creators who took a noob under their wing and gave me some great advice, helped me out no end. I definitely wouldn't be in the position that I am now without their help. Specifically, I'd like to mention Raging Panda has been amazing, Dual Force Academia, Life Changing Video Games, or Super Bob as you might know him in game, Combat Panda, Law Swamp, Analyze It Gaming, Agent Spacely, Blade, Flenton, Earlite. I'm sure there's more. If I've got you, I'm sorry, but all of you have been absolutely amazing, and you've treated me so kindly and taken me under your wing, given me some great advice, and I hope that we'll keep the vibes going, we'll keep the banter going, even with Dual Force going, and I wish you all the best of luck with whatever you do next. And then, last but definitely not least is thank you to everybody who's watched, and thank you to everybody who has commented and subscribed on YouTube and followed on Twitch and hung out with me in streams on Twitch. Again, it means the world to me, and I'm so grateful that I was able to do this at least for a short amount of time with Dual Force. And one thing that you can't take away from this game is the community that it built in such a short space of time. We all came together, and it's really been just a great experience to be part of. And I'm sad that it's ending so soon, but that's out of my control. In my life, I have learned to just control the controllable, and if you can't control it, then don't spend too much time dwelling on it, which is where we are with this now. So I hope to see you all again very soon. I'll be uploading, I guess, if I take a break from regular videos, you'll probably still see a few shorts from me and stuff on other social media like that. So I hope to see you all again quite soon. Hope everyone has a great Christmas and a happy New Year if I don't post before then. And I will catch you all later. Thank you all again, and goodbye.